Here I am, I think.
Hey Jay, how are you?
I'm doing very well, James. How are you?
Wait a minute. You're a Brit, and you're ginger, and you like Porsches. What is going on?
It's a very select demographic that you're going after here, isn't it? I'm wondering who we're attracting to this this live broadcast, James.
Well, the gingers without souls.
Ginger Brits. It's probably not female, is it?
Hey, don't know. Look, 1% of my demographic is female, so that might mean we get at least 5 seconds of.
And I think about 0.5% of mine as well is. So, yeah, that's probably the sum total of not very much. But hey, we're here, and we're here together, and I've got my. Don't know if you can see my car, but it's
I
here.
can see your car.
I probably shouldn't bring up a 996, James, and I apologise for that in advance.
That's just,
I know.
That's mean.
I know.
Can you see? I've got the 991 next to me today instead of the 996.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm moving on. Gosh, a hawk.
Look out, Americans!
Yes, changing the subject briskly.
I don't see snow on the ground. Yeah,
no.
You're outside. That's great.
We had about a foot just before Christmas, and then it rained and washed it all away in about 10 minutes. So that's all gone now, but it's still cold. But I thought I'd come outside and just sit next to a Porsche if I can't actually drive one whilst I'm talking to you. And we can share the gingerness together. Sorry, what's the story then? Have you guys decided what you're going to do? Can you hear me?
What are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know, we still haven't made a decision. I think, I don't want to speak for the guys, but I think Steve is like all in. If we can keep going, if we can do it, if we can find a fix, he's game to keep going. I think Patrick is sort of leaning towards getting rid of it as a roller and just recovering our costs so far without investing any more. And I'm sort of on the fence. I think in an ideal world, I want to go for it. I want to fix it. I want to get it on the road, say I've done it, and then pass it on to somebody who's going to really love it and take care of it and give it a second life. But at the same time, researching, how to get a new engine or how to rebuild the engine, I've got quotes from anything from like 7 or 8 grand for an engine off eBay to, 20 or more if you go to somewhere like Flat 6 Innovations that will give you a fully, like almost brand new, completely fantastic engine to go back in your 996. But that would mean we're going to lose some money on it, and it would be the type of car that you'd want to keep for life. That's an investment to keep for life. So tell us about your channel, Jay.
Well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if that comes across on video, but I'm just having a go. I'm just showing up and seeing what happens at the moment. I started in May. Lockdown had bitten by then, and I'd run out of things to talk about with my wife. And I thought, let's try something. I can't just sit in the house all day. It's amazing how much time you've got when you're not interrupted by people in the office, or you haven't got a commute. I had quite a long commute, into New York. I wasn't doing it every day, but a couple of times a week. I'm about 55 miles outside of New York, and so I just thought, look, for the sake of my own mental health, and because I watch a lot of YouTube, let's just give this a shot. And I just brought this lovely machine at the time. And I thought, that's probably a pretty good place to start. So my first tentative step was a cold start video.
Mm-hmm. I saw that one.
Did you? Oh, right. It was you, was it?
Right. I think I was one of like 6 people who saw that video.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought, I'll have a go. And it turns out I'm really enjoying it. The combination of cars, messing around with technology, buying bits of kit.
Yeah.
Amazon and all that. I've got a shotgun mic coming in a week or so.
Nice.
Oh, I know. Small victories.
Yeah, you're really jumping in with 2 feet now.
Well, it's not very expensive, but giving it a whirl. And then also, I'm quite surprised when you do set your mind to this and you start YouTubing. You've obviously got to get content out there if you're going to grow. And I thought I'd quite like growing things. But I'm a businessman normally, and I quite like growing businesses and that kind of thing. And it's amazing how much it gets you out there, James, you know, to meet other people, to go after content that's interesting. You're actually pursuing things that are not only interesting to you, but potentially, hopefully, more interesting to other people, actually. That's what you're looking for, really. So when I say I'm sort of tinkering with it and messing around with it, I'm still sort of finding my niche, really, and finding out what people want to watch. It's clear when I do an interview, a piece about my MG, hardly anybody watches it except the sort of die-hard MG fans. That's why I've got a beard, you see. Because
all 6 of them.
Yeah, all 6 of them. They all wear beards, and they, you know, I'm being rude, but
sure.
and some of the MG people are absolutely gold. But Porsche, I think, is where, you know, is what people like to see. But it's finding out what people can do. Now, I'm not a multi-millionaire either, so I can't go buying cars every 5 minutes and trying them and then selling them on. I haven't got the time to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of figuring it out, James, really, and just having a bit of fun doing it. Really enjoying the engagement with the people that watch it, you know?
Yeah, I get a buzz out of that a lot.
Do you really as well? Yeah.
I really do, yeah. I mean, when I started my channel, I was looking for a hobby. I bought the 996. I wasn't necessarily buying the 996 to make content. I was buying the 996 to drive. But I wanted a bit of a hobby, and I was out there cleaning it, and I was watching YouTube. But I wanted something that would allow me to sort of get out the house, but not go, 50 miles away onto a golf course for 6 hours every Saturday, and an entire day. So I'm able to kind of tactically pick out an hour or two in the garage or an hour or two to go driving, and then make content while the kids are sleeping and my wife's in bed. So I'm I found a way to sort of make it fit into my life without impacting my life, because we're all busy, everyone's busy. You dedicate time to watching Netflix or going to the gym or walking the dog, or like you and me, making kind of YouTube videos.
Well, that's right. And, I spent such a lot of my time commuting up and down to New York that I had a bit of extra time. I've got 3 boys, one who's 20 and is at university, a 17-year-old, and my 13-year-old Barney is a car mad, car fan, and so he and I go everywhere together.
Yeah,
doing these car things, and you see him at the end of every video that I do. Not that anybody has ever actually stayed to the end of one of my videos, but
your analytics tell you that there's a bit of a drop.
No, it's not that bad. I jest. Probably 30% of people stay right to the end, but 30% of not very much is not, in fact, very much. So. But nevertheless, he loves it as well. So we just do lots and lots of different things, and it's become a bit of a lifestyle, actually. And I'm just enjoying it. Really. I'm just going with it and seeing what I can do. It's a bit of fun. It's a hobby. It's not designed to make money.
Yeah.
I started off, James, by posting all my videos in various forums, and I was just sort of starting to make myself a little bit unpopular. Because people go, oh, there he is showing off again. And I thought, I don't want to be doing that. I'm not here to show off. I'm here just to have a bit of fun and share and entertain a bit and educate if I can. And if people start, so I've stopped all that. I'm not going to go on any more forums or Facebook groups, not regularly anyway, and post up my stuff.
That's how I came across you. Because I recognize your name from commenting in the groups, maybe. And then I saw a couple of your videos and I thought, well, actually, you're not posting someone else's videos. You're posting your own videos.
Yes.
So I think you've got 2 things going for you. One, the 996.
2, as many as that. Right.
Well, at least 2 of these things, which for many YouTubers is quite a lot when you're getting started. One is 996. That's a hot topic right now. So many people are watching 996. And actually, just looking at my own statistics, my 996 videos are more popular than my 991 videos and my 997 videos. It's quite incredible. And I don't know whether it's because it's the journey I'm going on or it's the model itself or maybe a combination of the 2, but the 996 is a hot topic right now. And I think the second is 2020, as much as a train wreck as it's been in a lot of ways, it is the year of the content creator. There is only so much Netflix you can watch. There are only so many times you can rewatch Battlestar Galactica. That's not true. That's not true. I've watched Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, you can in fact watch that a lot of times, actually,
But, I think more and more people are looking for the sort of the non-traditional content, and that's YouTube primarily. It's Vimeo. It's a lot of other platforms like Instagram. I mean, look at TikTok. It has exploded this year.
Yeah.
Where people are getting millions and millions of views for their 7 seconds of,
that guy on
or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there have been so many YouTube channels that have popped up this year, and it's a byproduct of people being bored at home. It's a byproduct of people wanting new and refreshing content. For me, I think you hit it on the head a second ago. It's a passion. It's a way of engaging with people. It's a way of, sort of interacting and doing something creative. To me, it doesn't matter if I have 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers. I never had ambitions to be that big. I'm
just the same.
I'm amazed that I even have as many as I do now. 8. I look at that 8,000. I'm like, what? But to me, the biggest part of it is seeing sort of fresh content that I'm interested in, but also having a dialogue. Like if I'm following a YouTuber and I'm commenting and he's not, or he or she isn't commenting back, and there isn't a dialogue, I lose interest pretty quickly, to be honest. And for me, I've made so many connections with people around the world just from this kind of interaction. I love it.
Me too. And actually, a chap commented on on one of my videos yesterday, saying it's so nice of you to reply. And I'm thinking, well, that's what I'm here to do. It's no bother at all. This is why I love to. I could chat to somebody about cars forever, and that's what I'm really here to do. And just it's made me a happier person, actually. If you sit and just think about your work or money or whatever all the time, you become a pretty dull sort of a character. So plus, I own a Porsche now. Which I never, I know, and I never thought I would, and I just thought again this year I had a Golf GTI before this, which was fabulous, really good car, but this is just it's just on another level, and it's just you get so much more with a 911. You get the whole heritage that comes with it, and I'm just really enjoying it. It's probably the nicest car I've ever had, and I've had some expensive cars in the past.
Let me ask you about your GTI, because from growing up in Liverpool, the Golf GTI was like the attainable supercar for the humble, kind of working class, lower middle class family. The Golf GTI, it's so fast, it's brand new, it's German, wow. Over here, I see a Golf GTI and I'm still like, oh, honey, look, the Golf GTI, and my wife's like,
and there's probably a 17-year-old driving it as well.
She just doesn't care. Did you have that sort of? Did you hold the GTI up as an icon in the UK?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, it was a big deal back in the UK, wasn't it? When the first one came out in the 70s, it started the whole hot hatch thing. Yeah. And I'd never had one before, but it's one of those sort of iconic cars that you think, that's on my list. I'm going to have one of those one day. And I had the need to sort of nip in and out of New York from here. I didn't want to spend a lot of money. I wanted a car that was economical, fast off the line. Mine had the DSG gearbox as well. And it was absolutely perfect for that. The only thing that was a bit of a downer was the very firm suspension, which when you're sort of pootling around here up in Connecticut, going around corners, fabulous. When you're going across New York, pothole roads, bit of a nightmare, really.
Yeah.
But definitely an icon. And that's why I bought a 911 next, actually. I was thinking about getting a Jag, to be honest, and I couldn't quite get into. No, and I've had one before and really enjoyed it, and I'm going to move on very quickly here. And I just thought, as soon as I got into a 911, I thought, this is just got my name all over it. It's just such a nice car. How about you? You've had a number of 911s, haven't you, James? So yours was the first. Your first one was a 996, was it?
It was, in fact, very similar to yours there. It was seal grey instead of what I think is Arctic or GT.
Yes,
silver that you have there. Carrera 4 Cabriolet, picked up in LA, and I loved it. It wasn't quite as big as I was expecting, because funnily enough, this agate grey 991 was the first 911 I ever sat in a dealership. And I thought, wow, it's bigger than I expected. I'll go and buy a 911, thinking that they were all that big. And I got to LA, sat in the 996, and was like, it's
much smaller,
big, but it'll work. Sure, take my money. And then I drove home in it, and I loved it. But I've had, including this 996 now, I've had, 4 in 5 years. But I think I'm going to stay with the 991 for a while now. And the question is, what I buy after we get rid of the 996. Do I go for another project car, or do I get myself, you know, a newer car or a classic to work on? I love the idea of having this to drive all the time and then something to work on.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I said to you when I saw your 996 sort of have a bit of trouble. I thought, well, on the downside, you've got the bad car, but on the good side, you've got content.
Right.
And, you know, and that's something to talk about, and it sustains you. And if you've got the best of both worlds, if you're sitting next to a lovely 991, if you can persuade your partners, to the extent that I have a vote, which I don't, but you know, my sort of vote from the shouting from the back is get it repaired, finish it, because I think you'll have some content which people will really be interested in. You know, you've got a story now, and B, I think if you got rid of it now, it would be the one that got away. You think, you know, I didn't finish. I'd like to have done that. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel until I see the price tag for a flat six Innovations engine. I'm like,
yes, yeah. Well, yeah, you don't have to do that, though, do you? You must be able to find a
probably
good
not. I think that, I haven't been able to do it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you must be able to find a good M96 somewhere. You know,
I think so. I think the thing I'm worried about before making any decision is just figuring out why it blew up in the first place, because it may have not been an engine issue. It may have been, the chassis being slightly out of alignment somehow. Why, I don't know. So if I put another perfectly fine engine in there and a new tranny, is the same thing going to happen again? That's the one unknown. So either we're going to get a Porsche tech out here, or we're going to put it on a trailer and take it to Porsche in Minneapolis and actually get them to properly, do a, I don't want to say autopsy, but basically an autopsy on the engine and tell us what happened. I want to know. And then, that'll be a great video if nothing else. And then from there, we'll see where we go.
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't help you with any kind of mechanical diagnosis, being a complete idiot on that front. But it seems to me, just from common sense, that something is twisting, and it's twisted the engine apart. You know, something has either stopped and twisted, and it's just pulled apart. But again, don't listen to me at all.
Yeah, I really don't know. And considering it's got 172,000 miles on the clock, and the transmission broke at 168. So the car was fine for 168,000 miles, and then all of a sudden the tranny breaks, and then this one now breaks. Yeah.
So what other ideas have you got for your channel coming up? I mean, where do you want to take it? You just kind of sort of do you have a sort of a plan in your head of what you're going to do over the next? I must be honest, I don't. Things occur to me that I think are interesting in the week before normally, and I don't have a big plan of what I want to do. It occurs to me I have a little bit of a story arc going with this.
Yeah.
In that I've got an IMS coming up, and there's various modifications I want to make to it. So that's my sort of story arc.
Yeah.
And then I make sort of ad hoc kind of evergreen videos that people could watch, in 10 years' time, and they'd still be relevant.
Yeah.
Around, at the moment I'm going through spreadsheets and things like that, which I
saw them, and the comparison videos between the GT cars and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
Really good.
Thank you. And they interest me, and they seem to interest a few other people as well. So I'm doing a few of that, but I don't have a grand plan much beyond a couple of months, and most of it is all in my head as well. Is that how you work your channel as well?
It certainly was initially. I think after my first year was just dipping my toe in the water, and I had no idea if I was going to get loads of online abuse, or maybe no one would just watch my videos.
Well, we can start that. I've got people that I can start that if you like, and we can get that going.
No, that's okay. I've got a couple of people that watch Nick Murray, and they abuse him, and they've started to say a few things to me, but generally I've got such a nice bunch of people following me. I don't want to tempt fate. But, year one was just sort of testing the water. Year two, the story arc, if you will, was around my transition from the 996 to the 997.
Yeah.
And then I started to think about, I'm 2 years into this. I want to try and make a good go of it. What should I do? And so I think to answer your question, I do have a general idea at the beginning of the year what I want to do, but the path to get there will go in many different ways, depending on all sorts of different things, like ideas I have at 2 o'clock in the morning and I wake up and write it down, or speaking with other YouTubers and seeing other content that inspires me. In fact, do you watch Andy's channel at the last rasp?
Oh, it's great.
So one of his closeout videos for the year where he went driving with his buddies.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the gold standard of the outdoor driving Porsche video. And so I've been thinking about trying to recreate something like that without completely ripping it off. But I think, 1 year was about the 997 transformation. Last year was all about the 991 transformation and them getting into Project 996. I was hoping to sort of draw the line under Project 996 in 2020.
I could tell that in your last video, yeah.
So that's a cliffhanger, which is going to start in season 5.
Well, yes, a cliffhanger, yeah.
But I think this past year, my sort of theme was collaboration, because the year before it was just very much me. A few Porsche and Pancakes like group videos, but it was primarily just me and the 997. This year, I didn't know where it was going to take me, but it's taken me in so many cool directions. I've done Instagram lives, Michael Bath, other folks, Andy at Last Rasp. I've done YouTube live streams with my friends on Project 996. I've made loads of my usual sort of DIY videos and driving videos. I've had loads of people bring their cars into my garage, and we've done walk-around videos, friends that own 993s, 997s, 992s. So it was all about collaborating and trying to expand the horizon of my content with just bringing more people in, basically, and not having me in the camera all the time.
Yeah, I try and do the same as well. And you need to sort of build a network, don't you? It's like being a sales guy in a business. You push yourself out there, and you more than you probably would if you were just a sort of a passive viewer of these things. You are actively pushing yourself out there. So my friend Noah, for example, we did a film with his brand new 992 manual against this, and see what he thought. He just bought a brand new car.
Yeah.
And what you said was exactly true. This is much smaller, and it feels a lot older. But on the flip side, this does feel as if it's quite it's probably on the cusp of being modern versus old.
Yeah. You're right there on the precipice.
Yes, exactly. That's right. But trying to vary that concept. My Three Amigos video as well that we did with the guys, Paul and Dave from Bootsy Gear. Fabulous fun. I mean, just great fun to shoot. Just to shoot. That sounds grand, doesn't it? But to film but we had a glorious day like it is today in Connecticut. We went to the beach in our Porsches, and we just put something together and swapped each other's cars and had just fun. So I'm trying to do the same thing. It's harder in the winter because people don't want to come out quite so much.
Yeah,
so I'm sort of focused on these. You probably noticed I bought a green screen, which is just hours of fun. Even if you're not filming, you can just do all sorts of things with it. Not those kind of things, though, just in case anybody's wondering what we might be doing there. But so, more of the inside stuff, I guess, during the winter. But next year, I think I want to do a few things. I'd like to do Tail of the Dragon. I know you've done that already.
Yeah. Hey, let's figure it out. We're trying to find sometime, I think, in September or October to do a group trip. If you want to join it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you know what I noticed? I noticed that midway between you and I, you're up in St. Paul, Minneapolis area, aren't you, around there?
Yeah.
Midway between the two of us is Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is the home of the Corvette. It might be fun. It might be fun to meet up there. But anything else, that kind of thing. I also thought I might do a little trip down to Atlanta to go to the Porsche Experience Center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just thought that would just be huge fun and a great story, and plus people would be interested in watching that. I think what you get for your money and how it works and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Tour of the building. I thought that would be interesting. But I'm kind of waiting for the weather to get a little bit better,
It looks pretty nice there right now.
It's cold though. I've got this huge coat on, and it's lovely here now. What's it like up there? I guess it's freezing where you are up in Minnesota.
Oh, it's freezing cold. Yeah, we only just had the snow came and went and melted, a couple of times, but now the snow's landed again and it's here to stay. I think it's pretty cold. It's like in Celsius, it's about minus 15 right now.
Oh God, it's much colder than here. Yeah, it's hovering around the freezing mark here. Cold enough.
I lived in New Haven, Connecticut for a year. And
that's up the road, yeah.
At the time, that was the coldest I'd ever experienced winter when I lived in New Haven, and I was jumping on the MTA and going into New York, every week. Yeah. And then when I moved to Minnesota, I thought that was nothing compared to what's.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, I've not been up to Minnesota before, but I know you guys do get some cold winters. Hey, I also learned about you that you write for a magazine as well. That's interesting. How did that come about?
Yeah, I do. Total 911 magazine. Big plug. Everybody buy Total 911 magazine. It was quite a weird twist of fate, really. When I knew I was going to buy a 911, I was walking around a bookstore with my wife, and I saw the Porsche 911 buyer's guide. That's what I saw, and I bought it. And it turns out it was a special edition of a Total 911 monthly publication. But I bought it for the buyer's guide, read it cover to cover. There was loads of great stuff in there. Bought my 996 and became a subscriber. And over the months, I was looking through the content and reading it, and I started following them online. It turns out the editor of Total 911 magazine got a phone call from one of his best friends from university who knew me about 15 years ago when I lived in the UK and was watching YouTube. I haven't spoken to him, and I used to work with his sister. And he was watching YouTube and was like, I'm pretty sure that's James McGrath. I'm going to ask my sister. And she said, I didn't know he was doing YouTube. Like, nobody from my professional life pretty much knows that I have YouTube.
I'm the same.
But yeah, this brother of one of my good friends that I used to work with 15 years ago saw me on YouTube, saw that I was driving a 911, and showed it to his mate Lee, who is the editor of this magazine. So Lee reached out to me on I think it was Instagram, and he like, I followed him, he followed me, and he's like, I think I know you, or at least kinda. So we kind of like got in touch that way, and then for a couple of years we just stayed in touch, you know, etc., etc. And then this year Lee asked me if I wanted to be a columnist in the Living the Legends. You know, there's like a dozen people that own 911s around the country, and they write about them every month. And one guy, I think, had just decided to call it a day, and so we had an open slot, and he said, would you like to? And yes, please!
Yeah, I can't imagine you thought about that for very long.
Yeah, but just, I mean, people say the world is pretty small, but that to me is bonkers.
It is bonkers, yeah.
But it's fun. I've been doing it now for about 6 months, so...
That's good. It's good. It's all good fun. It gets you out there, doesn't it? As I say, it gets you doing different things that you wouldn't do in your professional life. And I bet you couldn't imagine, writing for a magazine a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
So how did you end up in the US?
It was through a job. Yeah, it was through a job. In fact, I've been to the US now. I came over for 2 jobs, and then eventually on the 3rd job, on a contract, met my wife, Ruthie, who was living in New York at the time. So I was over for like 2004 and 5 and 6, and then back again in New York and Connecticut, and then back in 2009, met Ruthie in 2010, got married in 2011, and this year will be our 10-year anniversary.
Cool, that's just as well we discussed that, doesn't it? Now that you can write it down, can't you?
I better write that down.
Now, video evidence and everything.
Yeah. And now I've got 2 kids that walk around with their little American accents and occasionally drop in an English word, which makes me feel great.
Well, they got Scouse accents. They haven't got sort of American Scouse accents.
No, you know, I try and get them to say things in Scouse, but it's not happening. Even Ruthie, I mean, she occasionally says things in Scouse, but it doesn't come off quite as well. How about you? When did you come to the US?
So I've been here 6 years now, again with a job. And I was working in the UK, and I got this job, and they said, well, the one thing is you've got to come to America. And I thought about it for 10 seconds. I thought, yeah, we're going to do that. That'd be great. Yeah, we're going to go and do that. And I've changed that job since. I work in a bank. I'm a global insurance executive in a bank, and absolutely love it. Absolutely love living here. I can't imagine us ever going back. I brought my 3 boys over probably just the right time when my eldest was about 13.
Yeah.
So just before sort of school got really serious. But it's been good for them. It's been good for us. We have this great climate here in Connecticut, 4 seasons.
It's
and you'll know,
lovely.
being a Brit, James,
Yeah.
you know that you only really get one season in the UK, and that's wet. Summer comes one afternoon in July and leaves just as quickly. And here, we get a lot more for our money. I've got a lovely house here in Connecticut, and the weather is fabulous. The lifestyle is nice. I like the people. I love the country.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine ever going anywhere else, to be perfectly honest. We're just much happier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss home. I miss the UK quite a lot. But I think now that I have a family here, and I think
I miss it this year. I miss it this year because of the pandemic. I haven't been able to go back. It'll actually be the first year in my life that I've never been set foot in the UK.
Yeah,
and that's really weird. It's really weird, and not being able to see my mother. Who she's a very young, 70-something-year-old. I won't embarrass her by telling you how old she is, but she's a very young person, and she's normally here 3 or 4 times a year, and I'm normally over a couple of times a year. So it's been very hard, but we've all made the best of it, and been out and bought a Porsche. Did I mention that? I'm not sure if I mentioned that.
So, is it you said it was a C4? How many miles on the clock?
No, it's a C2.
Oh, it's C2. Oh,
C2.
Mine's the C4. Yours is the C2.
That's right, yeah. It's a C2 Tiptronic, so I've made myself truly unpopular with the Porsche Eastie by buying, a 996 Tiptronic. But it's only done now 28,000 miles.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it really is. I was so lucky to find this car, and it came up for sale at a Porsche dealer. I was on the phone the same day, and I bought it pretty much the same day. I irritated the Porsche purist by not getting a PPI done. This is sort of how not to do it. I know.
Yeah. But for a car with that many miles, just, you live once, you buy it. Good luck.
And it's from a Porsche main dealer, and I just thought, I'm just going to go for it. It's in great condition. It really is. It's had lots of services all the way through. It hasn't had its IMS bearing done. Mm-hmm. So because it's a Tiptronic, the engine has to come out. So that's a job for February. A big, expensive job, which I've sort of told my wife about. I have told her.
Like, do you have to do it?
Well,
you don't have to do it.
I'm not sure we've got long enough on this video to talk about that. But you don't have to.
Have you had your oil analysed?
No, I haven't.
That would be a good start.
Well, I did. No, I didn't. I mean, he looked at when I had it serviced. He looked at around the filter, pulled the filter apart, and absolutely fine, no problem, good as gold. This is being the sort of 996.2 has the single row bearing, which is generally considered the weaker, and actually those with a lower mileage are supposedly a bit more prone to it.
True.
So I mean, all the risk factors here, and I'm just thinking. Probably going to keep it a while because I love it, and I can't see the point in really upgrading it into something better or different, at least, because I don't think it'll be a lot better.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know, and I'm trying to resist. Right, this is the thing. This is a really good car. The next one must be even better, and going up to a turbo and then a 991, and I'll buy a new one. And here I am. I've spent 150 grand. But. So I think I'll keep it for a while, just whilst my kids go through college, because that's super expensive. And I just thought, well, I'm going to get this changed, get it done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think generally speaking, it's about one's attitude to risk. I think if you are a risk taker, you probably wouldn't get it changed. And it's about the time exposed to risk as well. I think if you are keeping it for a year and then trading up, no, I probably wouldn't bother. I'm not that risk averse. But if I'm going to keep it for 4 or 5 years and I'm taking it to events, I'm using it for filming.
Yes. Fair enough. And speaking like a true financial insurance guy, I appreciate your mind for risk mitigation.
Yes, exactly. Now I listen to the words coming out of my own mouth. That's exactly what I've just done,
Yeah, totally.
Frequency and severity. It's not likely really very much to happen, probably, if I keep it for 6 months. But if I keep it for 5 years, then if it does, probably could happen, and possibly could happen, let's say. And if it does, you're faced with Jake Raby, 20 grand, it'd be a lovely engine. It'd be a lovely, fabulous engine, but it's
It would.
20,000 in a car. Even in this case, is only worth a little bit more than that. You think the economics, probably $4,500, which is what it will cost me to get it done, is probably a good investment.
So I think if you're going to keep the 996 in the long run, I agree. I think it's a good investment. Can I float another idea?
Oh my God, go on then. Is it expensive or is it cheaper?
No, I think it would net out probably just probably the same price that it would cost you for the IMS upgrade. It's not going to solve the IMS problem, which you may still have to solve, so I'm going to talk myself out of this suggestion. However, if you were to trade in your 996 with 20,000 on the clock for a 997.1 with maybe 40 or 50 on the clock, your probability of that engine having an IMS failure, because it's been driven more, goes down. The engine has been improved from the 996.2 to the 997.1, even though they are still prone to IMS.
Let's develop this. You're onto a notion here that I've obviously already thought about, right? Because I'm a car guy who sits looking at Auto Trader and car gurus all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
Probably the most natural place to go next is actually not a 997, because I don't think they're very different. Yeah, they are, but you'll tell me in a minute. But 996 Turbo. Now that also solves the IMS problem because it's the Metzger engine. I mean, it has other coolant pipes that pop off and all that sort of stuff. But again, 28,000 miles plus, what's this probably worth? Let's say 30. 15, 20 grand on top of this. 20 grand certainly on top of this. Probably getting into something pretty reasonable, right?
Yes. Yes. Like, what would a high mileage 996 Turbo be right now? About
high mileage. Oh,
well,
high mileage. Probably closer
50,
to
60,000 miles.
Yeah, 45, 50, probably, right? So tell me about
my suggestion was going to put you out of pocket 2 or 3 grand. Your third scenario is going to put you out of pocket 20 grand.
This is why men shouldn't be allowed to talk to each other, according to my wife.
Because Ruthie is out right now, so I can talk about this all day long.
And I'm sitting way out from the house. The house is down there. I'm well out of earshot here, and listening on earphones as well, so I can't be heard. Well, you can't be heard at least, so you're out of trouble. But that's probably the place I would go to next if I was going to change it. And it's really tempting.
It is quite tempting. Yeah. Let me see if anyone else here is having thoughts about the 996.
We'll check with our viewer.
Yeah, let's see if is anyone there. What do you think? Oh, we got quite a few comments.
Have we?
I think basically everyone is saying James is right.
Are they really saying that, James?
we have somebody saying bring back the Three Amigos.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Is it one of the Three Amigos? Who said that?
That is PRTT 2001.
Oh, okay. That doesn't sound like it's one of the Three Amigos.
We have people saying that you have a classic. I should finish the 996. Agreed. The 996 saved the 911. I am in that school of thought, frankly.
Me too.
Even though they needed a dive reputation-wise.
They needed something that was higher margin, higher volume, and this was it. So they're probably not made as well as the 993. We should get Nick Murray in on one of these and see what he thinks of his 993. To see if that was better made than the 996. But I suspect it probably is. But, they're great cars. They're just awesome.
Well, it looks like you've got a lot of support here for your 996 Turbo idea. Bruno, Dijon 360.
Oh, no. Have I?
996 Turbo. People are saying 996 Turbo. Other people are just suggesting if you're in a 911, you're just fine. So...
yeah,
stick with it.
Yeah, but then I think I wish I hadn't opened my mouth now because if I'm getting support for that, then sort of G's me on a bit. But especially when you're trying to sort of get content for a YouTube channel. But I think there's more of a journey to go with this lovely machine. Probably I can get another year out of that before people get entirely bothered. Oh, you've got another idea?
No, I just noticed though that you've time boxed it, so you're going to get another year out of it.
I didn't deliberately time box it. Didn't deliberately time it, but
I'm only playing with it. No, I get it.
I know it's naughty, but you're kind of right as well.
Let me be nice. Let me be nice. When Pat and I were talking about the 996, for the 24 hours where it was finished and working before it blew up, I was trying to convince Patrick to either allow me to buy him out or to keep it, and we would share it, because I am in love with that 996, which makes the heartbreak even more severe because it's blown up. But I've fallen in love again with the 996.
And that one that you've got there, the job you've done on it, that paintwork. I mean, the badge is wonky. I told you that. You're going to need to do that again. But
don't you criticize my badge?
But look at that, and the wheels as well. It's just a beautiful looking thing. And I think from that angle that you just shot it at there, the 996 is a beautiful looking thing. In fact, I should have sat at the back, really, shouldn't I? But I do like just to sort of slightly piss people off by getting my fried eggs. These aren't fried eggs, really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know. I'm in love with the 996 again. So if it's not this 996 that I keep, maybe it's another Project 996 car.
What turbo?
Yeah, I did look at a few salvage turbos, but I did a rough calculation for what it would take to fix them, and it was just outlandish.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
But another turbo that's functional, that's working, maybe. But let's talk about 992 territory. At what point will you say, I've had enough with these pseudo classic Porsche 911s? I'm just going to pull the trigger and I'm going to get myself a 992.
That's easy. Immediately it breaks down. Then it's a stupid thing, and I don't want to ever see it again. Right? Well, I've been blessed so far that it's an old car, 17 years old. But I've been blessed so far that it's been very reliable, and I haven't had to use it very much. I mean, I bought it in March, and I've done. It's now obviously end of December. I've done 3,000 miles. And it's just ridiculously low. So for that kind of thing, it's perfect. Just turn the key and it works.
Yeah.
But if anybody who's ever had an old car before and it's become slightly unreliable, and unpredictably so as well, you can't just sort of fix it and it's better, then it has to go. Now, would I go full 992? That's the next thing. Because I have, as my last videos have shown, quite a thing for Boxsters and Caymans.
Yeah.
Do I see an eye roll there, James? Are you rolling your eyes? Oh, God, I've got the wagging finger again. The Jaguar wagging finger of doom.
Let me put it into Star Wars for you, because this is also the year of Star Wars. The 911 is the classic trilogy. The Cayman and the Boxsters are a combination of the prequels and the animated movies. Yes, they are Star Wars. Yes, they had George Lucas involved. But are they the original trilogy? The ones that get that tingle down your spine when you hear Vader, or now occasionally, like in Rogue One, when Vader comes out at the end and gives the fan service,
your metaphor's
you all
going to
go
run
crazy.
Yeah,
that is where you get like the new 718, maybe the 918. Those kind of non-911.
So let me position it in Star Wars terms.
Okay.
I'm going to put forward the Mandalorian as. Have you watched the Mandalorian?
Twice. I love it.
Right. Now, that is the Boxster and the Cayman right there. That is the Boxster and the Cayman right there. It's the Mandalorian kind of view. It's all about perspectives, right? And the Mandalorian, I'm right with you on Jar Jar Binks. It's 77 to 83. Anything outside of that, except the Mandalorian, complete rubbish. But the Mandalorian, that's something very, very different. That's really quite good. I'm only about halfway through it at the moment, but loving it. And that's what I think. So I don't know whether I'd go full 992. I don't know. I'd love to. But when you spec those up, they're 120 plus, and
so I wouldn't necessarily put the Cayman and the Boxster in their entirety in terms of all of their generations as the Mandalorian. I would put like the latest generation of Boxster in there. I would say, okay, let's say maybe all of the Caymans in there, but not the first or second generation of Boxster. The Boxster 718, the Spider versions, yes, that's fine. But then I would say the 997 and the 991 and the 992 belong in the Mandalorian, because the 996, when it first came out, unfortunately, was a Phantom Menace.
Now look, this is the thing, you see, I've already got myself comfortable with Jar Jar Binks. I don't think, but in my head, that's not a Jar Jar Binks car at all.
No, that is not Jar. Do you want to know which one was Jar Jar Binks? The first generation Cayenne.
Oh yes, that even looks like Jar Jar Binks.
A little bit, and I'm sorry to any first generation Cayenne owners out there, but
they're good off road in their defense. In their defense, there's a really good off road, but you don't buy one of those to go off road, I guess. But
I was going to say I probably wouldn't buy a Porsche to go off road, even though I know they're capable.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So would I go full 992, or could I be persuaded, James, to go into a Cayman GT4?
Oh,
now,
all right.
What's your stance on that? I bet I get no wagging finger of doom there, do I?
Not at all.
No, sir. No, sir.
The Cayman GT4 is the future trilogy, which hasn't yet been made by the guys that make what is it called? Game of Thrones.
This is Han Solo coming back. This is Luke Skywalker coming back.
Don't say that.
I must tell you, as soon as, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anybody here, but when Han Solo left the scene, I stopped watching.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the first film in 1977 when I was 6. Total hero. Anyway, we're really overextending our Porsche Star Wars metaphor here, but so GT4.
Oh, beautiful! I have a friend that owned one and gave it back after 6 months. It was not a daily driver, but what a car!
Yeah, and I could be seriously persuaded by one of those, and that the saving. Because if I was going to have a 992, I'd probably have what Noah had in the video that I did, a C4S.
Yeah.
Just because I think four-wheel drive around here is very handy. Plus, they are just the sweet spot of the range, I think.
Beautiful.
But his cost $152,000.
Yeah. You start putting. I configured them as high as 170 with the option.
Yes, and even if you lease them, which is arguably a bit of a waste of money anyway, you've got to put a lot down before the monthly payment becomes worthwhile. Or you've got to put 152 grand down, which is like free.
Yeah.
So, a 981 maybe GT4 as a second-hand buy could be a really nice motor, actually.
Yes.
Or even, going back to the 718, the new GTS with the 4-litre.
Yeah.
Around 85. So I'm going to stop talking about Boxsters now because we're probably losing viewers by the thousands. But yes, get him off. But
we are getting a lot of comments here that are saying that the GT4 would be a fantastic track car, and a weekend car, but not necessarily a daily driver. Han Solo's Porsche is the Millennium Falcon, according to Jay Bundred.
Good point. That is the coolest vehicle in the world, surely. Is there? In fact, that's what I'd like to throw out to the audience. Is there a cooler vehicle of any kind, of any description, than the Millennium Falcon? These are the questions, I think.
No.
I
don't think so.
Okay. Well, on that bombshell. So, no, 992 would be lovely. What about you, then? Have you got any plans? 991 to 992? It's not that big a jump, is it?
It's not that big a jump. It's really hard because I spend a lot of time living in Porsche land, and then the practical reality tells me that I've got a third kid on the way.
Have you? Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A little girl that's going to be arriving in May.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful news.
Thank you. And so I kind of need to keep those things in perspective. And funnily enough, my wife gave me the thumbs up that I can go and buy whatever car I wanted about 6 weeks before we found out we were pregnant with my first kid, Luke. So if I had waited another couple of months to say, honey, I think I'm going to go and buy a 911, this whole adventure on YouTube would not have started.
You get away with what you can get away with very quickly, don't you? I'll take that. I'm going to immediately go and buy one. Yeah.
But I think it's not out of the bounds of reality to think that I could go to a 992 next year or the year after. But I think along the lines of what you were sort of pointing at is, if you had 100 grand, if you had 150 grand to spend on a car, would you buy a brand new 992 like C2, C2S, C4? Personally, if that kind of money is something that I would be spending on a car, I'd probably be driving home in a first generation 991 GT3.
Yes.
Or a second generation 997 GT3 RS in lava orange with all the shit on the side and with my hair on fire.
Yeah, I totally agree. And these are this is why I do these style of videos that I do from time to time with spreadsheets and looking about, trying to figure out the fun factor of a car. And, if I did double the price of this car, let's say I wanted to put 65 grand out there or 60 grand out there, would I really be having a lot more fun? The answer is I would be having more fun, no question, because I'd be in something faster, probably a bit more reliable. But for the money, for doubling it, am I having double the fun?
Not unless you're on a track. Not unless you're on a track with no speed limits.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I am. And Noah's car was fabulous. The 992 C4S that I drove, and it blipped the throttle on downshifts, had the sports exhaust, sports chrono. I had seats that interfered with me, massaging seats. and
gave you the undercarriage rub.
Slightly sort of violating me, really, but I didn't really like that. But do I need all that? No, probably not. This car hasn't even got GPS in it. I can go and get that for a couple of grand from Porsche. Don't know if I will.
I hear you. But what you need, maybe you could upgrade your infotainment system. The 996 page just joined. I'm telling you, the 996 generation is getting so much attention at the moment. C. Henley 986 says, the force is strong with you for choosing the GT4. I would agree. Agree with him, I would, in my younger months.
Oh, well done. Well played. Well played. Very good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to say, those early Boxsters as well, I think it depends how much money you've got. And those are such good value. If you've got just a little bit of money and you want to have some fun, there's very little that will beat that. I mean, the answer is always Miata, of course. But for that little amount of money, to get into something which says Porsche on it, and it is a pretty respectable car.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying that as a 996 owner, and I'm sure there are people, he owns a 996, he would say that. But, I think for that money, pretty bloody good, I think.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I mean, like I said, the day that we had the 996 over there working before it blew up, when I drove that out to film the last video I filmed with it and took all of the drone photography, I was the giddy 911 virgin again that I was 5 years ago. And it was a 911, and it was exciting, and I was tingling, and it was just such a rush. And it doesn't matter if you go in 0 to 60 in 5 seconds or 3.5 seconds in my book. Unless you're Lewis Hamilton or you've got money that you can burn, that 996 C2 is as good as you need. Yeah,
I think so too. And but having said that, there's always the next kick that you're looking for. And certainly if you've got a YouTube channel and you want to sort of be successful, you have to change it up a bit from time to time. And turbo though.
That's my argument with my wife. Like, honey, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the channel.
Exactly. I'm doing it for my viewers. It's almost demanded of me that I change it up.
I mean, it's the purest form of altruism in my book.
Total charity. Just giving. It's better than giving them cash, I think. I would be quite happy to give my viewers cash. Obviously, I'm sure you would. But instead, I choose to give that donation in the form of cars that I pay for.
Exactly. That I get to enjoy and other people can watch.
That's what they seem to like, so I'm going with it. And
exactly.
Well, you might be interested to see something that I put on my car, James, that you sent me, in fact.
Yes!
Look at that.
That's
Porsche
fantastic.
and pancakes, my friend, is on my
And
Porsche
you can be
911.
the Grey Goose because you have the right colour car.
Totally. Look at that in all its beauty.
It looks beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, let me just, that was a terrible segue. Let me give a shout out to my friend Catherine Cole, who just joined. Katie just started up her own YouTube channel. And
Katie,
unless you're interested in makeup, you probably won't be interested in it, but she's lovely. She puts out great content.
Don't judge me. I might well be interested into that.
Hey, I've got a lovely. She might even do like a lip balm for Guy video.
I've got a lovely complexion, and I'm a chap who looks after himself, so I might well be interested in that. That's great news. We need more people YouTubing, I think, don't you?
Oh no, absolutely. I watch all of Katie's videos. I think they're awesome. She's only been doing it for like 6 weeks, and she's already jumped from beginner to budding editor with titles and background music and nice segues.
What's the name of her channel?
Catherine.cole.tt. She does Tuesday tips. Every Tuesday she releases like a tip video. You should check it out.
Actually, I'm free most Tuesdays, so I'm going to... you can see I need a bit of work, and I think that might be the channel for me.
And she's an absolute sweetheart. In fact, she's commenting here saying you do have a lovely complexion. Ginger was born with wonderful skin.
That's true.
Very true. No soles, but lovely skin.
No soles at all. Very little sense of humour. Propensity to talk absolute drivel about Porsche most of the time. But apart from that, great people.
Well, Jay, I think we should wrap this up. I want to wish you well, and I would like to say that...
You too, my friend.
If you can think of a way that we can collaborate on a YouTube video, I am all in. Whether it's meeting up at Tail of the Dragon or doing a live stream in the garage, or can we live stream when we drive our cars?
We'll figure it out. We need. I'll bring my sons along, and they can do it. They can.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
That would be
James,
awesome.
it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for having me on your feed, and really enjoyed it. Loved chatting with you, and
you too.
We will do something again. We will meet up, and we will go for it in when the pandemic is a bit more under control.
That's awesome. So everybody watching, thank you for joining. That is Jay Reed, the Jay Reed channel. Happy New Year, everyone. Take care.
Happy New Year, James.
Cheers, Jay. All the best.
Bye.
What a nice guy. That's awesome. 2020 is the year of YouTube. So hello, Katie. Hello, Jay Bundred. Cheers, guys. Honey, I don't want to buy a GT3, but the analytics tell me that it's what I have to do. That is the best way to get myself a GT3. Northeast Porsche owners, we can't even get Jay to buy us coffee on Sunday mornings. Really? Is Jay tight-fisted? I should have seen that before he left. I'll ask him about that. Maybe that's what the giveaway can be this week. Anyone who shows up and spots Jay Reed at Sunday's Cars and Coffee in Connecticut, Jay will buy you a coffee. And if he doesn't, let me know, and I'll send you some Auto Amateur stickers. Well, guys, this has been absolutely loads of fun. I'll see you in the next one soon. Take care. Bye.